beech trees are latecomers to the forest. Beech trees, the seeds on beech trees, or the seedlings of beech trees, flourish in shade. They do not like to be exposed to sunlight. So they come in and seed in and grow in a mature woodland. So they're latecomers into that woodland. They also need a rich, stable environment. And they like floodplains and slopes near water. So we've got all of that. We're, on a floodplain here. It's been a long time since it flooded up this high, but this is all part of the floodplain. An upland slope above that, mature trees in there so that they've been able to grow. So what this indicates right away is this is an old forest. It's missing a lot of its old trees because there was a lot of logging in here for wood, for fuel. We were just talking about the mill race. Well, the mill race was to supply a sawmill. And in that instance, if you go across Barron Road into the East Woods, the East Woods are wide open up there. That was the woodland that was directly above the sawmill. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Cut them, roll them, saw them, sell them. It was down the hill to the mill, off to market. The beech trees, that's what's going on here. This forest has been here for a very long time. It's been logged out, but the beech trees were, in most instances, left behind. These were primarily dairy farms, and agriculture was meant to provide your own vegetables and to provide forage for the animals. So that's why we, have big open fields here, because they were growing food for the animals more than anything else. But the forests were all part of that. So you needed firewood all through those years, and then you were logging to sell timber because that was making money for you to help support the farm. Beech trees are not considered that valuable a lumber in any way. They actually, around the Second World War, maybe a little bit before that, firearms manufacturers began using beech for stocks on rifles because they'd used up all of the walnut, which was the favored wood for making the stocks for firearms, and they began using beech because while it's a softer wood, it is quite stable. When you put a stock on a gun, you don't want it warping. Makes it kind of hard to hit the target if it's never pointed the same way twice. But beech turns out to be very stable. You get it with a good straight grain, and it can be used. So a lot of stocks were made out of beech, but until that point in time, it was basically a secondary wood. It's not a great firewood because it's not dense enough to really burn for a good long period of time. There's a good example. That's what I've been looking for. Oh, well, this is kind of an example of when I said, they like to grow in shade. And as a result of liking to grow in shade, they're very companionable. They have no problem growing right up against another tree.
It looks like Cape Cod, doesn't it?
But you'll often see them side by side by another tree, and it's like, that tree sort of adopted them, kind of a thing, because that's the conditions that they need. Nice shady spot, protected. They're not likely to be blown over. So they do that. These are called beech drops, Epiphagus virginiana, and you will not have these unless there's a beech tree nearby, because this is a three-way. You get a beech tree, the beech tree grows there for a while. There's a fungus that says, ooh, beech tree. It moves in to live with the beech tree, and the fungus actually puts its mycelia into the root structure of the beech tree, attaches itself and becomes a part of the beech tree's circulation. Then the beech drops come along, because the beech drops are then, the fungus then attaches itself to the beech drops. And the three of them trade nutrients among them. So a healthy beech tree at its healthiest is going to have beech drops under it, because they are supplying it with certain essential micronutrients. The fungus is gathering nutrients from both of them, but distributing them in both ways as well. So it's a pretty neat little arrangement that they have. And so they're here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. This is a particularly rich zone for them. They're annual, they're finished now. They have no chlorophyll in them because the fungus is what, you know, and the connection with the beech tree is where they're getting their nutrition. So they don't have to have chlorophyll for anything like that. Every one of these bumps was a flower and a source for it to make seed. Then, Hough, they are clonal. They actually grow off their own roots. So there's the initial seedling that grew up. Now, she, he, it, whatever, however we want to make it out, is now growing new trees off the root structure. This one falls over. This is identical genetically. This is the same genes as that tree, but that tree gets to be whatever age and falls over. It's not dead. It's the same tree growing out and out and out. So if you look through here, you start to see this, that, you know, all these little beech trees around there. It's then a case of which ones are growing off the roots, which ones are clones, and which ones are from seeds. Right. And there's no way of knowing unless you get in there digging around and poking around to find out, you know, is this a single tree or is it attached to a mother tree? And that gives the tree the advantage of the genetics from the seeding that allows you to, you know, progress genetically, and the clone which says, well, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm still alive here. You know, I continue growing, and I will make, then when I'm bigger, I will go to making seeds and doing the whole genetic thing because that's the best way to progress in the world.